Yo, what is up, guys? Professor Kim is back with another episode, and today we're going to learn about how to get promoted quickly in the workplace. I've worked in tech for over 10 years, and I've seen a lot of things that work, a lot of things that don't work, and the things that have worked, I've tried to incorporate it into my own career. And what I want to do today is go over 5 different things that you can do to help give you an advantage over the competition. Now, before we begin, I want to make sure that you guys are aware to be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. Oftentimes we think that, hey, getting a promotion means more pay, but it also means more responsibilities. It also might mean you're going to have direct reports to manage, which can be challenging if you've never managed people before. There's also going to be higher expectations on your performance. And so a lot of this can translate into additional hours, higher expectations when it comes to reviews, and it can add a lot more stress to your life if you're not careful. And so I tell people if they want to get promoted, make sure you're aware of the trade-offs because you just might get it. Let's dive into the video. So the first tip that I want to share with you guys is to position yourself. Now, every company is going to have a priority. Companies can't do everything well. And so they are going to have to prioritize certain products or features for their different business units. Make sure that you're working on something that is in alignment with what the leadership is prioritizing. Because if you're working on something that isn't really getting the attention or isn't a priority on the roadmap, you're not going to be getting resources. You're not going to get a lot of visibility. You're not going to have a chance to showcase your value to the team. And so you always want to make sure that you're on a project or a product area that is either generating revenue, gaining users, or in a high growth area that's getting a lot of attention. So if you're not in a position like this already, make sure you pivot into a role where you can get that level of visibility. Now, the second tip that I'm going to give you guys is to improve your visibility to the key decision makers. Oftentimes, people who are in charge of making the decisions who to promote are oftentimes the managers. They're also part of a hiring committee, and they might be senior managers, directors, VPs. And so getting face time with them, whether it's through one-on-ones or through group meetings where you're presenting to them and showcasing what your team has done is going to be really important. You know, specific roles might have more opportunities than others, but you want to make sure that you either ask for these opportunities or find someone who can vouch for you, who can kind of put you in that position where you can improve that. Getting face time with them means talking to your accomplishments and what your team has done. And so if there's a chance for you to step up and play that lead role where you can talk about the successes, but also the failures and challenges that your team has gone through, they're going to remember your name and rely on you more as you continue to build up your credibility. Now, the third idea I want to talk about is to plant the idea. Now, one of my favorite Chris Nolan films is Inception, where DiCaprio's character plants the idea in Robert Fisher's head to dissolve his company. And you need to do something similar here where you plant the idea early on into your manager's head or your skip level or into the key decisions maker's head that, hey, you are someone who wants to be on the fast track and you want to get the opportunities to move in that direction. And it's really important that you do this so that you can plant the idea, but also nurture this throughout the year. Whether it's through one-on-ones, whether it's through group meetings, you need to water it, you need to give it sunshine, and you need to occasionally remind your boss that, hey, this is something that's on your to-do list. It's very easy for managers and leaders to get overwhelmed with the amount of things that they have to manage. And if you're not bringing this up where they have the awareness that you're someone who wants to continue to move up and be challenged and take on additional opportunities, they might forget about it. Now, of course, you don't want to overdo it. And so you need to play this by ear and plant it across the team and not just in one person to the point where they just get sick and tired of hearing it. Now, the fourth tip that I want to talk about is to study your competition. You're not the only one looking for promos. There's going to be a lot of people below you, your peers, people higher than you who are constantly going to be looking for opportunities. And especially if you work in a very high performing A-type environment, there's going to be a lot of talent who are vying for the same roles. So you can't ignore the internal competition or the external competition because companies will oftentimes also go outside to look for external candidates to bring them in and fill the open roles. And so what you need to do here in studying your competition is ask yourself, how do you compare against your peers? Are there certain skill gaps? Are there certain things that they do better than you? And so it's very important for you guys to understand what your strengths and weaknesses are and try to align that for the roles that you want. If you want a manager role, what are some of the skill sets or attributes that they're going to be looking for, and make sure you can address those. Because if there are other people in your organization or even people externally who have those skill sets, they're going to be getting the opportunities over you. Now, the fifth and last tip that I'm going to give you guys is to track and document. And the reason why this is so important is that if you don't put it down on paper, if you don't remind your team from time to time and your bosses and their superiors, they're going to forget about it. And most companies these days have some sort of a performance tracking mechanism, whether it's through OKRs or through annual performance reviews or other mechanisms to track your progress. You want to make sure that you document and track the goals that you're creating for yourself, the KPIs that you're measuring against, the success metrics, and also how you're performing against them. That way, when it's time for promotion time and performance reviews, you can pull that document. You can say, hey, I did X, Y, and Z. Here were the expectations for the job family that I'm currently in right now. And here's what I need to get to that next level. And here's how I'm trending. Is evidence to your team that you're making progress in that direction. And it's a very objective way for them to measure you against others who are vying for the same type of promotions. Remember, if you don't document it, it's your word against someone else's. If you guys don't document, it's very hard to recall all the things that you've worked on in the year. I highly recommend creating a Google Doc or some sort of a spreadsheet and identifying all the different things that you've delivered, what capabilities or products or areas you've worked on, and make sure that you quantify the impact of what you did. Because it's going to be, at the end of the day, the contributions and the value that you created versus someone else. And oftentimes they're going to look at the self-evaluations to determine who to promote and who not to. Now, these 5 steps may not guarantee a promotion, but it's definitely going to put you on the right track. So once you get promoted, pop that champagne, celebrate with your friends, and let me know how you performed. Anyways, that'll do it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think these 5 tips were helpful, or do you think there's other things that you can do to help get promoted? Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.